Good evening and welcome back to 31 Horror Nights. It's October 18th and tonight's movie is Bring Her Back. This is a movie from this year directed by Danny and Michael Philippou, the two directors of Talk to Me, a breakthrough horror smash hit from a couple years ago that I already watched for Horror Nights. I actually didn't know about this movie. It wasn't originally on the list, but I found out about it during the month of October and decided that it did need to be on the roster, so I removed one of the movies. I'm pretty sure that is one that was originally on last year's list too, but got replaced with something else. I'll get to it eventually, probably. But anyway, Danny and Michael Philippou. Talk to Me was brutal. It wasn't just terrifying, it was depressing. But it was so expertly made. It is about as good as a movie completely devoid of joy can be. I would put it in the same category as like Hereditary or Incantation. The plot of Bring Her Back seems a little confusing just from the trailer. Apparently there's this brother and sister and they're staying with a new foster mother, and the foster mother is trying to resurrect a dead kid, I think? Normally when I hear Bring Her Back, I'm thinking of like Find Her, like a girl got lost, but apparently she's dead, and I'm pretty sure that the woman is trying to use like a dark ritual with another kid and like sacrificing that kid to bring back whoever she is. The crazy witch mom is played by Sally Hawkins, who was the leading lady in The Shape of Water and was nominated for an Academy Award for that role. And I'm just gonna assume that this is going to be quite the demanding role from her. I'm sure she's gonna do great, though. Talk to Me was such a good first movie. I'm very interested to see where things go from here. I'm gonna go watch Bring Her Back. Oh, goodness gracious. That movie was a lot. Too much, actually. If Talk to Me is as far a movie can go without crossing a line, this movie crossed that line. It fell off the edge. We're not in martyrs territory, but the fact that I even had to think about that for a fraction of a second speaks volumes. I'm gonna give this movie a 4 out of 10. I don't think it was worth it. One of the best things about Talk to Me was its leading character, Mia. Not only was the acting performance by Sophie Wilde incredible, Mia was an amazing character who just kept messing up throughout the entire movie. She did nothing right in that film, but I still felt sorry for her and wanted her to come out on top, even though she very much never did. Sally Hawkins has gotten a lot of praise for her performance in this movie, and yeah, I think she does a very good job, but the character, man, like, I thought I was not going to see a mother as despicable as the one from Run, but this mother, Laura, is way worse. I don't know if the movie actually wanted me to feel sorry for her by the end of it, but that absolutely didn't work if that's what they were going for. I was actually kind of hoping for her to get her comeuppance weapon style by the end of it. Speaking of weapons, I remember that one scene at the very end of the movie with a bunch of children, and I was thinking, like, how exactly are you going to ask children to even pretend to do some of the things in this movie and, like, still take care of their mental health? I had very similar concerns throughout this entire movie concerning the character of Oliver, a young boy played by someone named Jonah Wren Phillips. From the trailer, I actually didn't know if this kid was a boy or a girl, but definitely a boy. I don't know how old that actor is. I hope he's older than he looks, because some of the things that this kid does in this movie is a lot. You know, you'd think considering how many horror movies I've seen, I would get used to this, but I'm really not that into gore, and there were a few parts in this movie where I just had to look away. If that one scene from Talk to Me where that like 14-year-old kid is bashing his face against a table until it just becomes a bloody pulpy mess was too much for you, I would skip this one altogether. And Bring Her Back does not just eclipse Talk to Me in terms of the violence and intensity, it also does that in terms of the depression. Like I've said before, this movie is rough. I think it's too rough. Everybody has their own, like, thresholds. This passed my thresholds. I can admit that there are good things in it, and I do understand what it's trying to do, but overall, I just think it pushed the line a little too much. Alright, now let's talk about some spoilers. From the trailer, I was under the impression that the foster mother, Laura, wanted to bring her daughter back by taking her soul and putting it in the body of Oliver. because the image of Oliver all possessed with like red sclera context was used in a lot of the promotional imagery for this movie. Turns out that's not quite the case. She is trying to bring her daughter back, and she is using Oliver for it, but the ultimate vessel for Kathy, that's the name of the dead girl, will instead be Piper, the little sister of the main character of this movie, Andy. They describe Piper as like almost completely blind. She says that she can see like vague shapes. I also am pretty sure one of her eyes moves independently of the other one and just like looks everywhere. And that's actually quite fitting because Kathy was blind when she was alive. As it turns out, what the ritual really is Laura taking Oliver and getting him possessed by a demon. And the demon is going to do the resurrection. And by the way, Oliver is not Laura's foster kid. She kidnapped him. His name isn't even Oliver. The ritual is, and you might want to skip ahead 5 seconds, is that the possessed Oliver will have to eat parts of the dead body of Kathy and then, like, vomit the soul of Kathy into Piper's mouth after she dies the same way that Kathy died. They don't show the consumption process, but we do see the results of it with this giant, bulging, veiny gut. And by the end of the movie, Oliver looks barely human. Like, there are prosthetics, there are special effects. It looks demonic. Laura attempts the ritual, but is ultimately, I guess, brought back to her senses somewhat when Piper screams out, "Mom!" And Piper is able to escape, and she gets rescued by a passing car when she runs out to the road. However, that ending did come at quite a cost. Not only did Laura kidnap and permanently mutilate this little boy, she also killed a social worker by running her over with a car, and then killed Andy, the main character, by drowning him in a puddle. And by the way, throughout the entire movie, she was trying to drive a wedge between Andy and Parker, the step-siblings or half-siblings, by blaming Andy for things. There was a point where she put on Andy's body spray so that she could absolutely wail on Piper's face and blame it on him. So overall, Laura is one of the most despicable characters I've ever seen in anything. That's why I was kind of hoping for the demon to take its pound of flesh from her when the ritual failed. But instead, the demon, or even, I guess, the kid that the demon was possessing, walks off the property, and there was, like, this white circle on the ground. And when Oliver was brought outside of it, he was, like, convulsing. Like, obviously, something was happening when it left the ritual circle, but it does it again this time. And when the police find the body, it seems that the kid has, like, come back to his senses. Again, this kid is, like, I'm pretty sure permanently mutilated. I don't know how normal of a life he could live after this, but he didn't die. So Piper and Oliver both had their lives ruined, and every other character was dead. Ironically, the person who had the least bad fate at the end of the movie was Laura. So that's great. Overall, I didn't really enjoy myself watching Bring Her Back. I understand what the movie was trying to do. I just think that it went too far. This isn't enough for me to think that Talk to Me was just a fluke. I am still interested in what Danny and Michael Philippou will make in the future. I just thought that Bring Her Back was kind of a misfire. Alright, thank you for listening. I'll see you tomorrow.